Last week we took in 4 brew days across London as we followed the trail of American craft beer's impact on the wider brewing world. We learned the history and ideas behind heavily fruited quick sours, the ale-lager hybrid that is cream ale, the iconic malt-forward steam beer, and a classic brewpub style, the American brown. And elsewhere in London on the same day, 2 more American-inspired beers were being brewed, a classic West Coast pale ale and an adjunct stout. The beers were collaborations between great American craft brewers and some of our favourite London breweries, all of whom were pouring at London Craft Beer Festival, where we killed some of the time waiting for the beers to be released. A few weeks later, we headed back to the first brewery we visited, Exale, to taste all 6 beers and discuss how their flavours and concepts had helped shape the modern brewing world in ways you might not even have considered. So it's been a long month waiting for these beers to come out. Perhaps because there were so many of them, the expectation was 4 or 6-fold.
Mate, incredible lineup, like so much diversity between different styles of beer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. When we started this project, I think most people would think, oh, American influence on the world, it's IPA. No, not the case. And we're going to see whether all of these styles are delicious. So we've got our first beer out already. This one was on draft, it wasn't packaged. Small run from Signature Brew, straight to draft, straight to TV.
I'm very happy to be drinking a pint to start with, Johnny.
Exactly, and a cream ale as well.
Oh, beautiful.
So this is going to be basically like a pint of lager with a little bit more body, a little bit of excitement. Cheers,
mate.
Honey and sweet corn kind of notes.
It does, it does kind of, it's a bit creamy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing about a cream ale, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I guess that's kind of partly where the name came from, but yeah, nice and sweet and floral. Beautiful. Loads of honey on that, isn't there?
It's beautiful. That is a perfect pint.
Yeah. Crisp, cold, refreshing. That's a beautiful beer. Any time of year, it's like almost a replacement to your lager. It's got a bit more kind of floral character to it, loads of honey to it. Kind of reminds me of like a Hellas in that regard. But it's got a little bit more character because it's an ale, which has been restricted by that cold conditioning. But it's a full-bodied, essentially lager, really, with an ale yeast. So you can see why this would have been a success in the US, not just the need, the fact that they might not have had the lager yeast or the conditioning time. You can see why this worked and why ale was a great solution for that, but also why the rest of the world would be like, well, this is potentially a quicker way to make a kind of lager character, and on top of that, be able to make something a bit unique, a bit more kind of complex, and almost a little bit ale-y.
Mate, it's an American innovation in a pint glass right there.
That's become a bit of a need as far as I'm concerned. Beautiful. So beer number 2 is kind of the inverse of what we just had. We just had an ale fermented like a lager.
Yes.
Now we're going to have a lager fermented like an ale.
Like an ale.
So this is a steam beer, which everyone will know from Anchor, essentially.
Man, love Anchor.
And with the sad demise of Anchor, it's nice that we can celebrate the style and the impact it had with this beer. Steaming across the pond.
Great name.
From the Bold Mariner in the States and Hackney Church Brew from the UK. So let's see what we get from this one.
Loving the colour.
Yeah, it's a perfect colour, isn't it?
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, woody, piney. Again, a kind of gentle sweetness, which I think in this one is from the crystal malt rather than maize in the grist. Smells great, sweet and savoury. I took way too big a gulp there. I was too excited about it.
Yeah, man. I'm loving that.
Lovely caramel, lovely kind of orangey, minty, rosemary kind of herbal character to it that's really nice with that caramel. And a kind of sweet, smooth, lingering, not roasty, but toasty finish.
Toasty, I'd go toasty rather than roasty, yeah, for sure.
Brown toast.
It's not as strong as a roasty.
No.
But it's certainly a little bit toasty.
Which makes it feel kind of nourishing and bready. It's one of those beers that, definitely isn't good for you. It's beer, but it feels like it should be good for you. So we didn't actually make it to this next brew day.
We pushed it so hard on that day, John.
We did. We did most of East London, but we couldn't make it over to Wimbledon Brewery in West London on the day. But they were, on the very same day, brewing with Distill Brewing. And they made a classic, as they put, classic West Coast APA.
Love it. So
this is the beer that was kind of invented by, a little bit by Anchor, but is mostly associated with Sierra Nevada now. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, wonderful beer. So that's what we should be expecting, a little bit of that kind of caramel character, that kind of almost like English ESB kind of thing, which is kind of the origin of that style, but hot to hell like the Americans love to do. So they're trying to find a balance between big chewy malts and lovely hop character. Let's see if they've got there. Oh my God, it smells great. Loads of grapefruit on that.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's
Grapefruit
got like
and
a real kind of tropical thing going on, really.
Yeah, really, really nice. And a little tinge of kind of caramel sweetness coming through, but it is really about those hops. So let's see if there's a bit more balance on the palate. Wow, yeah. That's got that thing that I think is unique to sort of American pale ales, which makes it different to English pale ales, which is where the bitterness and the sweetness really collide and make this kind of big, bold, exciting. I describe it as it's almost like Caramac kind of finish. It's like rich, complex caramel sweetness.
They sort of they come together, but they're not fighting. They're sort of greater than the sum of their parts.
Yes,
they elevate.
They sort of pile up into a glorious tower of flavour. So that grapefruit that is there, soft caramel and breadiness, incredibly crisp, incredibly clean, lovely lingering bitter finish, an absolutely stellar American pale. And from this beer, like what Sierra Nevada did, what loads of other American breweries have done, is the genesis almost for all hoppy modern IPAs and pales that came after it. This is a homage to the beer that changed brewing around the world.
It's the goat style.
It's pretty much the goat style, yeah. And this style, invented in America, changed the world in many ways, and will continue to for decades and decades as the rest of the world catches up with this style of brewing. And this is a stunning example of why people are so excited about this style of brewing.
Okay, Johnny, we've had an incredibly diverse lineup to this point. Now we're going to get even more diverse. I'm talking a quick sour here, Johnny, with blooming cactus in it, mate. Prickly pear, and they could only get it in Europe in powdered form, powdered prickly pears and strawberry in a quick sour. Yeah,
so quick sour is this thing that America's really taken on as a great way to make these really fresh, zippy, tart beers, and that's then spread because obviously Americans went, well, this is done in Europe. What can we do? Instead of adding syrup like the Germans, we'll just add tons of fruit puree.
And there's no barrel aging involved. It doesn't take years and months and all the rest of it.
Super, super quick.
Yeah.
And what you end up with is really fresh, fruit-forward beer. And this
crushable.
I mean, a lot of strawberries have been crushed into that. Big strawberry aroma, and also sort of a peary, orchardy acidity to it as well, along with that lemon and kind of tropical character. It just smells
incredible.
So inviting and jammy. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Oh, come on.
Strawberry, honey, crackers, kind of a pear skin kind of tannin to it, just loads of stuff going on. But then it just dies away to nothing, which is the joy of these quick sour beers. If you get the acidity right, it can be this incredibly drinkable thing that you wouldn't even recognize as beer and you wouldn't recognize as fruit juice. It's this own thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe one of the ultimate summer drinks, I think, which is why they're so popular in very warm parts of America.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Texas.
Like Texas, yeah.
Like Texas.
Thank you, America.
Yeah,
it's delicious. Where are we off to next on our American Odyssey via central London?
Well, the darkness is drawing in. We're moving to two kind of dark beers as we finish up today, starting with DC Brown Howling Hops American Brown.
Oh,
it's called Shot in the Dark.
Nice.
It's Cascade, Chinook, and then hopefully a lovely brown, rich, toasty, nutty body. Certainly brown, and a lovely off-white.
That is beautiful.
Oh my God, that smells like me getting into craft beer a decade ago.
Hang on, I've got to turn my hat around for this one. It's got a kind of subtlety to it, Johnny, that I'm not used to. Which is really nice.
I think that term is balance.
Balance, Johnny.
I think it's loads of maltiness, but a little bit of hop kind of poking through.
Yeah.
So you've got citrus and pine and resin just poking through from toastiness, kind of walnuttiness, a kind of peanut husk.
It's really complicated.
Vibe. Yeah, there's loads going on, but it's soft and it's inviting. It's not
exactly.
Say like the prickly pear from Exale, big and bold and in your face. So there's loads of kind of like sweet red fruit and acidity to that, which you might not expect from the colour. Loads of red berry, like slightly burnt toast and pine poking through, like way more drinkable than you'd expect from quite a strong, slightly dark ale.
It's like a sort of really acidic coffee bean kind of
Yeah,
vibe for me.
yeah, like a lightly
fruity
roasted
coffee bean.
fruity kind of pour over coffee kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's got that. And I think even if American browns aren't brewed all over the world, definitely it's given breweries more confidence to hop darker hued beers. Generally, they're seen as contrasting, but they don't have to be if you get that balance right. Right, final beer, and we've saved the palate smasher for last, obviously. So we can make it to this brew either, but this is Werewolf in Camden with Heavy Riff Brewing. This is, bear with me, a chocolate and chili porter,
Ooh.
but at a very accessible 4.7%.
I think it's ancho chili and Scotch bonnet chilies in there, Johnny.
Right, so we're going to get big smokiness,
Yeah.
but also from the Scotch a fair whack of heat and fruit.
I'm slightly scared.
Yeah, and then hopefully lots and lots of lovely chocolate. Paprika-y, kind of earthy, sweet kind of aroma to it.
Definitely getting the sort of fruity, chocolatey notes as well.
Yeah,
Though.
yeah, fruitiness I think from the chocolate, from the malt, from the Scotch bonnets. Loads of complexity to that. Doesn't smell alarming or aggressive.
No, it doesn't. That's always a good start to a beer.
So this is like the intrigue of this comes from American breweries. They took English porters, they took English stouts, and they've really started adding adjuncts. Is the kind of the innovation that America brought by adding lots of different flavors to really go like, we want chocolate in this, we want chili in this, we want coffee in this, and you can just literally add those ingredients and really make a beer that sings with one particular note.
That's the kind of the great thing about America, I think, is they're like such a new nation that they're full of joy and like just accepting everything, trying new things, Johnny. You know?
They don't have a tradition that
There's
ties
no
them down, and
traditions.
obviously an immigrant nation means there's lots of
Exactly.
ingredients available.
Yeah,
So
from all over the world, Johnny.
let's see if this is a multinational party.
Ooh, I'm getting some of that heat.
Yeah, that heat starts immediately, like catches you at the back of the throat.
Yeah.
But it's a nice, pleasant, tingling warmth.
It's a peppery kind of heat.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really nice with that kind of sweet chocolate vibe.
I'd pair this with some amazing beef birria tacos.
Yeah.
With adding that little bit of heat, that little bit of sweetness on top of it, and it would just sing.
It would be absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So it was amazing fun to witness not one, but 4 brew days in one day, and also to witness 4 brews that we don't get to see very often in American browns and steam beers and stuff like that. Absolutely fascinating to rub those hops, taste those ingredients, and to see the incredible diversity that has come out of 30 years of American craft brewing.
Yeah, I think everyone, you think American beer and its impact, and you just sort of instantly jump to IPA. But it's everything, Johnny.
No, they've created loads of different styles, like we've got on this table: the American Pale, the steam beer, the American Brown, adjuncted stouts, prickly pear sours. But also, I think that what's really important to note is not just the amount of styles now being made around the world that pretty much have American in the name.
Yeah.
But also the impact that they've had on other styles that already existed. Like England was dry hopping, Belgium was dry hopping very, very early, but not in the quantities and with the techniques that are being used in America and now around the world as a result of that. So you've got, the Italian Pilsner maybe dry hopping with classic German hops, but would they have added that amount of a dry hop to a Pilsner without the Americans going, this is how we can do it without getting the wrong flavors and aromas out of it? So, now we put Citra in Pilsners and stuff and make these delicious, clean, incredibly hoppy session beers. Like the techniques that we use to make these beers that are unique in themselves has gone on to change lots of other styles that don't have American.
I genuinely think without the American craft brewing revolution, we wouldn't have had an explosion of craft beer in all the other countries around the world, Johnny. They've given us permission to have fun, to experiment, to be bold, be brave, break tradition. And that is just an incredible thing. That's a gift to the world, I think, Johnny.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that, the reason I got into craft beer was because I enjoyed the diversity, the fact that every drink was going to be different. And that very situation comes from what we've got here and from all the work that American breweries have done. And it's just incredibly exciting. And I really hope that what our work does, what the BA does, what American brewers are doing is going to increase the diversity of what's on the bar and increase the innovation that's going on that will therefore further increase the diversity that's on the bar, because I love beer because of what it can be. It doesn't have to be one thing, which is why the craft beer American craft beer movement started, and long may that approach to brewing continue.
I'll drink to that.